Hi, how are you? Today I am reviewing Sony a6400 review. 2-minute review. Introduction. Sony's a6400 is a compact 24MP mirrorless interchangeable lens camera with an APS-C sensor that will serve plenty of photographers from family documentarians to pro shooters looking for a lightweight second body. Key specifications. The Sony a6400 officially replaces the older a6300. It uses the same sensor but comes with some subtle enhancements aside from the impressive autofocus capabilities. It arrives in an increasingly crowded field, though, with cameras like the X-T30 from Fujifilm and the EOS M50 from Canon being similarly priced and with similar sized sensors. Do the enhancements make the a6400 the standout in this crowd? Find out its strengths and weaknesses in the pages to follow. What's new and how it compares. Sony's a6400 looks almost identical to the previous a6300 on the outside, but with a fair number of refinements within. So while this doesn't address our qualms with the A6x00 series controls and ergonomics, it does at least make the a6400 the nicest camera to use in the lineup so far. The processor. The a6400's Bionic X processor is not the exact same chip as in the professional level A9, but it is related. While the highlight of the processor's new capabilities is the new real-time tracking option, we've also noticed that overall operation is snappier than the a6300 and a6500, and boot-up times are noticeably quicker as well. Autofocus enhancements. Sony has long incorporated subject tracking in their E-mount cameras, and up until now, it was referred to as lock-on AF. Of particular note is that IF, which intelligently identifies the nearest eye of a human subject to focus on, was a separate function, and had to be assigned to a separate button press. Not so with the new real-time tracking system. Usability enhancements. Sony has also updated the menus to their latest implementation, which does a better job of bundling settings together in a sensible fashion and includes color tabs and headings as well. This was present on the more expensive a6500, but not on lower-priced models. There's also a new customizable My Menu tab that you can populate with your most used items. Button customization menus have a little mock-up of the camera to make the assignment of custom buttons quicker, since it allows you to visualize and check how you've got the camera set up right then and there. It's worth noting that this is rapidly becoming industry standard practice, so it's nice to see on the a6400. Body, handling and controls. The a6400's design is almost the exact same as its predecessor, the a6300. For those that like the design of Sony's mid-range APS-C lineup, this isn't a problem, but we've had handling gripes with the series for quite some time, and it's disappointing to see such little attention was paid to the camera's exterior when so much was devoted to creating one of the most robust and flexible autofocus systems we've yet seen. Controls and customization. Unfortunately, beyond the touchscreen, the customizable My Menu and the updated customization interface, the story of the a6400 is really about what Sony hasn't updated. We still don't have a front command dial, the touchscreen can still only be used for autofocus, there's no provision for separate function menu customization for stills versus video, the video button is still in a hard-to-reach place, and there's still no in-camera RAW processing. Connectivity. The a6400 comes with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi with NFC connection options, and you can connect to the camera with your smart device using Sony's updated Imaging Edge mobile app. This app supersedes the previous Play Memories mobile app, and offers a broadly similar experience. You can control the camera remotely and download JPEG images from the camera to your phone. Unfortunately, you cannot send RAW files this way. And unlike most of the a6400's competitors, you cannot process RAW files in camera. Battery, ports and memory cards. The single card slot sits next to a familiar NPFW50 battery pack. The card slot is only UHSI, which means write times are on the slow side, but the buffer is reasonably deep. The battery life is a solid 410 shots per charge. As usual for sepia figures, you're likely to get many more shots than this, depending on how you shoot. Twice the sepia figure isn't unusual. We find a rating of 410 shots will easily get you through a day of photographically focused activities. Auto ISO. As with previous Sony cameras, the a6400 has a best practice auto ISO implementation. You can select your chosen ISO range, and either choose a minimum shutter speed yourself, or have the camera choose automatically. This is particularly handy if you're using a zoom lens, so your minimum shutter speed requirements may change depending on where you're zoomed to. Raw dynamic range. Our ISO invariance test shows that the a6400 sensor is a good performer, just like the a6300. There isn't much of a difference between shooting a scene at the base ISO of 100 and pulling the shadows up by 5-ish stops, versus shooting at ISO 3200. For advanced users, working this way can help keep the brightest highlights you want to preserve from clipping to white and being unrecoverable. First impressions. Let's start with the biggest news on the a6400, which is its new real-time tracking autofocus system. While we already had lock on F and IF in previous models, Sony has combined the two here for one of the very best autofocus implementations I've seen. But let's go back a bit and revisit what subject tracking really is. So I highly recommend getting the Sony a6400 review. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe my RS product review channel. Thank you.